Gucci Mane.
That was
Is that like the first thing?
The browser right away.
Is that like the first thing that plays? It is. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's live. So
yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, it says 3 watching now. Stubs, are you
5 watching
here?
now.
5, 4, 5. Yeah, so people must definitely get our notifications. Even though one of them's me.
All right,
also,
yeah, everybody,
I didn't notice you made me a mod.
Right, what?
I didn't notice you made me a mod.
Oh yeah, everybody that's in here right now. If you have a Twitter account, and I'm assuming you have a Twitter account, you know that Twitter is currently down. So if you guys could notify us when it goes up, if it goes up while we are recording, because we don't have a way to tweet out that we're live. But we said we were going to be here at 6:30. We know we're a couple minutes late, but we're ready to rock and roll. We're just going with the show as if Twitter was up. We don't need Twitter to do the show. Who needs them?
Not me.
All right. Yes. All right. Thanks, though. All right. Ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Around 412. We are part of allsteelers.com and proudly presented by Crowworthy, where winners are serving winners coast to coast with sports, gambling, and more. You can follow Crowworthy on Twitter at Crowworthy and visit us at crowworthy.com. You can also check out the Crowworthy Pittsburgh City page for podcasts just like this one, blogs, and more. I'm Tyler, and with me as always is Smitty. What's going on, dude?
I'm very excited. It is
because it's Browns week.
It's Browns week, and the Browns actually look like they have somewhat of a football team this year. So things could get very interesting. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to hopefully have some people in here. As of recording this right now, we know that Twitter is down. I believe this is the first time that we've had Twitter down while recording. Social media is a huge part of how we've been able to grow our platform. So hopefully some people are in here to watch this. If not, hey, you can watch it back. We did a ton of playback views or listen back, whatever it might be. But either way, I feel like this is going to be a really good episode that you don't want to miss, whether you have to watch it back, listen, or hopefully you can get in here live. We got our friend Devon Stubbs letting us know when Twitter does come back, assuming it will while we record, so we can tweet out we're live. But yeah, super excited that it is Browns week. Super excited to start talking about that stuff as soon as I tell you guys about one of our sponsors, which is Manscaped. If you listen back to the Fantasy Football Show, it was the first time that I've done the football season ad read. So I'm still relatively new to this ad read, so you guys might have to bear with me for a second here. Football's back, people, and that means it's time to throw on your team's colors and make sure you don't fumble your grooming below the waist. Our partners at Manscaped are here to save your boys from a Bud Dupree on Matt Moore-like hit. So you stay clean and take care of yourself where it matters most. Manscaped is here with Surefire Touchdown with the best tools for your grooming experience. I have the Lawnmower 3.0. Tyler has the Lawnmower 3.0. A ton of our friends have the Lawnmower 3.0. They spent 18 months perfecting this thing. It is awesome. It's new and improved. It's the third, obviously, in its generation. Because of the ceramic blade and skin-safe technology, your snags will be reduced. The Perfect Package 3.0 comes with a new and improved lawnmower. It's waterproof, cordless body trimmer, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag for you to use when you are done quarantining, when you're able to actually use that travel bag. The Crop Preserver is an anti-chafing ball deodorant, which ensures that your afternoon stroll doesn't end with the balls sticking to your leg. The Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. It's made with soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts that give your balls a boost whenever you need it. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code 412 at manscaped.com. Take advantage of this limited time offer. I don't think it's limited. I mean, we just redid our deal with them. We're partnered back up with them again. So don't know how limited we're talking about here, but limited time offer at Manscaped's Pro Bowl lineup, and try it for yourself. Again, 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code 412 at manscaped.com.
Yep. Got them.
There's some of the products right there.
I like to show them every show. That way, we actually have them. I use them. I mean, this thing is, I'm going to guess it's probably like about here right now. Not that matters, but still.
Yeah. I mean, we're not, I think that's important. We're not just talking because they are paying us to do so. We actually do use these products on a regular basis, and we love them. And we would be using them regardless. So, love Manscaped, love everything that they've put out. Check them out. Again, use code 412 at checkout. That would get you 20% off plus free shipping with whatever you purchase. Let's get down into the football talk, though. Oh, wait, hold on a second. We got a question. What would you say are realistic expectations for Chase Claypool for the rest of the season? Perfect. You know what the first thing on the agenda is? Chase Claypool.
My guy.
Let's just dive right into it. I mean, you know what? I don't want to toot our own horn on this show. But we've been talking about it. Like we like the draft pick. We got to see firsthand what he did down in the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Looked very good. He stood out. Granted, it was the wide receivers. We expected them to manhandle the defensive backs that were there. It was a very good receiver class in general. But the guys that were at the Senior Bowl, even just unbelievable class. So obviously balled out down there. He only met with the Steelers once, though. Another receiver, Van Jefferson, met with him twice, and he didn't expect to be a Steeler. They called his name at 49. I know it took some people by surprise. I wouldn't necessarily say it took us by all. I mean, he fits the mold of being a Steeler. So I won't say that I was incredibly shocked when his name was called at number 49. I knew that they would go playmaker, and I didn't necessarily want them to go running back, so I wasn't upset about it by any means. So I liked the pick then, and I know that, training camp, obviously getting a ton of praise. The dude was just balling out, didn't have a preseason. We talked about on here just a couple weeks ago how he was playing a lot in 3 receiver sets, even in practice, and we expected that to start showing in his snap count. And lo and behold, week 3, he then leads all Steelers receivers in snaps. And then his 4th game in the NFL goes out and scores 4 touchdowns against the Philadelphia Eagles, and one of those rushing. So he catches 3, 7 receptions, 110 yards. I just mentioned the 3 receiving touchdowns. Adds another one on the ground on a 2-yard run, which they've been getting him involved in those jet sweeps a little bit too. I don't want them to overdo that. And, because I think that I don't want them to show all their cards. I want them to be able to use that whenever you need it, not just continue to throw it out there where teams are able to game plan for it.
I also think that's a Matt Canada influence as well.
Yeah, and that's another topic that I wanted to talk about. But still, I just want to. Chase Claypool deserves to have his own segment on here. For what he's been doing.
For sure.
I think that it's just part of the progression though, and it's amazing that it's come this quickly. But again, balling out in training camp, getting in there in practice, all of a sudden he's playing in 3 receiver sets, starting to translate to the game where he's getting more snaps. And then this 4 touchdown performance, it's just the arrow's been pointing up this whole time for him. And now, it's not like that thing can plateau off. He's got to find a way now to find continued success, because teams are going to start game planning for him now. Knowing that he is, a focal point of this offense, that's got to be his next task, is finding out a way to win when, teams are, game planning for you. So that's the next part of his progression is going to be that. And I'm excited to see if it happens Sunday against the Browns. I really hope that Deontay Johnson's able to go, because again, if you have all your guys going, if the Steelers have all their guys going, they're a very tough team to match up with and game plan for. You never know who's going to be the guy. I put out a tweet today. They've had a different receiver or tight end lead them in receiving yards every game that they've played so far. So they're just so versatile. They can throw mismatches at you across the field. And this offense has just been incredibly fun to watch.
Yeah. And just going back to whenever Chase Claypool was drafted, you and I were on our friend Jake's show.
Right.
And we reacted to that live. And like you said, we weren't really surprised or shocked or disappointed or anything like that. It was just, it wasn't exactly who we thought they were going to be picking. But I mean, once we looked into the pick and I started watching those Chase Claypool Notre Dame highlights more, and just looking at the intangibles that this guy has. And I mean, I was really excited for this pick, as were you. And I know a lot of Steeler fans were. And he's really been showing that he was worth taking in that second round. I mean, I think you can argue right now that he's probably been at least the number 2 wide receiver in the draft when it comes in terms of production this season.
Pro Football Focus has him at number 3 behind CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but that's Pro Football Focus.
But
so
yeah, I know. I haven't seen I haven't looked at another list
right.
that was like ranking the rookie receivers like that. Yeah, when it was draft night, Michael Pittman was our guy that we like really, really wanted. And then Jonathan Taylor was the guy that I thought they would draft. Oddly enough, they ended up on the same team, but both of them were gone before pick 49. So at that point, I was like, I have no idea, what direction they're going to go. They could go Denzel Mims. He was still on the board. He was a guy that I really liked as well going into that. But, obviously, at least to this point, maybe Denzel Mims is with the Jets. That's hell for football. Yeah. So, I mean, if he were here, it might be a different situation. But I think that Chase Claypool is definitely playing himself into a position where teams are going to look like idiots for not taking him. I mean, I wanted to mention a couple podcast appearances that we saw throughout this last week from, one Chase Claypool was on the Pat McAfee show, and he was kind of talking about it. He didn't care where he landed. He didn't care where he went because he knew he was going to ball out wherever he went. And I love that mindset. And then Mike Tomlin being on, shout out to Bryant McFadden, who's been on the show before. He has a podcast called All Things Covered with Patrick Peterson of the Cardinals. And he was talking about, they have a certain mindset and things that they look for when they are drafting receivers. And he said at first, pretty much throw out the receiver part. Does this guy love football? You want a football player first who happens to play the wide receiver position. They have pretty much decided to mold the way that they evaluate receivers around a guy like Hines Ward. That's the name that he mentioned. Like, you want a guy that, just attach the football, loves football first and foremost, and then secondly, happens to play wide receiver. And the fact that Chase Claypool, plays special teams at a very high level. He doesn't just play them. He's very good at special teams. Incredible run blocker, as we see from what I believe is still his pinned tweet on Twitter. I mean, this guy 100% loves football, had 10 receivers taken in front of him as if he needed any more motivation, and just absolutely balling out right now.
Yeah. And we said it for like over a month on this show that we were talking about it in training camp. We were excited to see him play even at the beginning of the season. That first catch that he had against the Giants, obviously he didn't play as much in that game as we probably would have hoped to see, but that gave hope for the Steelers fans. Like, hey, this dude can ball. And like you said, this kid loves football. It didn't really matter to him whether he was playing 1 snap or if he was playing 50 snaps. He just wanted to help the team do whatever he can to win. And I think just because of that, he's gotten more and more time on the field, more and more snaps. And I mean, Ben, I think, trusts him. And that's really big for a receiver when you have the trust of the quarterback that you're going to be in the right place at the right time. And he can know that whenever he goes to you, you're going to come down with that ball. And so far, Chase Claypool has done a good job of showing Ben that he can do that. And his production has just gone up, as we've seen. And I mean, right now, his season stats, he's got 256 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. So he is leading the league in touchdowns and receiving yards, or 261 receiving yards, excuse me. And he also has a rushing touchdown. So he's on pace for 1,044 receiving yards and 16 touchdowns. Obviously, I highly doubt that will happen, but still, I mean, that's awesome.
He's on pace for 20 total touchdowns, though.
Yeah. He's on pace for 20 total touchdowns and over 1,000 yards receiving and rushing, if you want to include that, like
1,100
total. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm really excited to see what they do for the rest of the season with this guy, because we've been raving about him all season and his production has just gone up. And I don't expect a 4 touchdown performance every week, but I just expect consistent, very solid wide receiver gameplay every single week from this guy. And I think that he can deliver it. I mean, you just look at his size, his speed. He's a mismatch for every single DB on the field. I don't care who it is. If they could be the best corner in the game, I will still say that Chase Claypool is a mismatch for them just because of his size and speed. I don't know a corner that is able to match his size or speed. And maybe they can defend him well, but still, whenever you're throwing a jump ball to him, I'm taking Chase Claypool. And I think that just goes to show, like, Ben has a lot of trust in him. The team has a lot of trust in him. The fans love him. And I'm excited for the rest of the season with him.
Yeah, it's a shame that only 5. He mentioned it too, like the adrenaline rush he was getting from just like 5,000 people. Imagine when it's like 65,000 people that are going to be in that stadium
Right.
watching him. So that he hasn't gotten to experience that to the fullest yet, and I'm excited for him to do so. But you talked about the mismatch, and I wanted to transition here and kind of talk about Big Ben in the way that he has played this year. Completely different. It's a new approach for him, but we are succeeding on offense because of it. You look at just that last touchdown that Chase Claypool scores, where he's the number 3, they call it, where he's lined up third from the boundary on the left side, and he gets that mismatch with a linebacker, and immediately like Ben goes to the line of scrimmage, and you can literally, there's a video, like, because you can hear everything, he tells Juju to run an out so he can take the safety with him, and Claypool can just go straight, and he's going to burn this linebacker. That's exactly what happens. I mean, it's night and day difference from last year. And that's what I was talking about. Like, even if Ben is average in terms of what he gives you actually, like with his arm inside the pocket, outside the pocket, as a quarterback, like the mind that he has is just going to make this team better than it was last year. Like, all he has to be is average. But again, I want to talk about the fact that he has been, in my opinion, at least, much better than average, even though he's doing it in a different way. Why is he not being credited for completely being able to reinvent himself and change the way that he plays to make this team succeed just in a different way than the offense has before? They can still put up 30 plus points. I mean, the offense is scoring more points right now than they have in the Killer B era, but nobody's talking about it because Ben isn't stretching the field the way that he used to. I could care less. That's why we have the playmakers on the field that we do, the guys that you want to get the ball in their hands. That's the whole point of having guys like Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, and James Washington, where you just get them the ball and let them do the rest. Ben is doing a perfect job of that right now. If you want to call him a point guard, I don't care. Call him whatever you want. The way that he is operating this offense right now, it's humming on all cylinders. It's better than it's been in a very long time.
Yeah, and I don't get the notion. I've seen people on Twitter saying that Ben has had a bad season. What's been bad about it? I mean, I'm looking at his numbers, and so far he's got 1,016 rushing, or not rushing.
Oh, whoa.
Crap. If he had rushing yards, yeah, passing yards, and he's got 10 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. So he's on pace to have 4 interceptions all year, 40 touchdowns, and 4,064 yards. What about that says a bad season whatsoever?
It's the deep ball. And I mean, he has said it, it's not there right now, but the difference is it's not that he can't throw it, right? It's that he's not hitting on it right now, but it's not a matter of arm strength. Like, he's overthrowing guys on it right now. Mm-hmm. So it's just the touch hasn't been there. He's still shaking off the rust. So I actually still have hope that part of his game could come back as the season progresses, but say it doesn't. Again, the way that he's reinvented himself for this offense to not take as many shots, he's protecting the ball much better than we've ever seen before, and just getting the ball to these guys, these short crossing routes, the Matt Canada's influence in the offense. It's working to perfection right now. Is there still little intricacies in the offense that, frustrate us? Sure. Like, they go up to the line of scrimmage and run a shotgun run on 2nd and 19. Like, nobody wants to see that. We know that that's a terrible call, but overall, the offense, the third down offense, is like 6th in the lead right now. Last year, they were 30th. I mean, everything about this offense is just so much improved from last year, and it's all because it's number 7 back under center.
Yeah, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. So like you said, if the deep ball doesn't come back to what it used to be for Ben, that's no big deal. I mean, the offense is clearly working, and if you just keep doing the same thing, I will not complain. Sure, you might not have as many flashy plays as you used to, but who cares? I mean, we're still getting excitement from this offense, and we're still getting points from this offense. Like I predicted on the show last week that this past week against the Eagles, they would break their streak of scoring less than 30 points, and it happened. Just so you know, FYI, I said it first. So
almost got 40.
Yeah, so the offense is doing well, so I just don't see a way I can complain about this team whatsoever.
I'm with you. Apparently obviously Twitter's down, so it's kind of hard to see, but this is on ESPN's website. Le'Veon Bell is signing with the Chiefs.
That's rough, buddy, because I was talking about it as a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fantasy owner, which now my friend Anthony is a recent Clyde Edwards-Helaire fantasy owner as well. We were saying that we didn't want him to go to the Chiefs, and I said that my money was on Buffalo. Is maybe not where I thought he wanted to go, but where I wanted him to go, or where I think he would fit well. But so he's going to the Chiefs. So that's annoying. You're taking an already good offense and giving them potentially another great running back. I mean, we don't know what he is. He was he was a shell of himself in New York, but you can hardly give him like 100% of the blame for that with the offensive line and just the whole team and the head coach that they had. So, I mean, I wonder what Andy Reid will use him for. I wonder how much Clyde Edwards-Helaire will get used and like how they'll split the carries. That'll be interesting to see.
Well, I'm looking at it as I don't think that Le'Veon's there next year. I think this is strictly for this year.
Right.
I could be wrong about that, but I mean that's a team that's kind of up against the cap every year anyway. I could see them just ride it out this year. Probably, I think that he has like a $4 million out. But yeah, they spent a first round pick on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You'd think that they would still want to have some use for him in the offense. But the interesting part is what makes Le'Veon different from most running backs is his ability to catch the ball. And we didn't see much of that in New York, even though Adam Gase promised it was going to be a thing. He had one target when he returned from injury last week. And that's also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, what makes him different as well as his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. That's what makes him so dynamic and why you could justify using a first round pick on a running back. So it will be interesting to see how they use both those guys. I don't know what the money is, but again, he could kind of, and I saw this like a debate, like could he double dip or is it an offset of $6 million where if say a team paid him 4, the Jets are only on the hook for 2 or something like that, or he could take the minimum and the Jets have to pay everything besides that minimum to make it $6 million. I mean, I don't understand the contract part of it, but I feel like, it's over and done with. He's in Kansas City, but I felt like, and I saw Buffalo had actually gotten rolled out before that. So it was down to Miami and Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
But with Buffalo being included, I felt like Buffalo was kind of the middle, where Kansas City's, the biggest contender of them. Buffalo, I felt like he would have a little bit more opportunity. Singletary and Zach Moss really haven't gotten it done there. I think that he's a clear upgrade there. Obviously still on a very good football team, a team that you expect is, going to be in the playoffs. And then, Miami, the team where he did live that lifestyle down in Florida, probably would give him the most money. And also I felt like would be the best opportunity for, the rap side, that's obviously very important to him, his rap career, if you want to call it that.
Career in air quotes.
But yeah, Kansas City, I mean, all I'll say is it's not New England, but
right.
But is it that much better? I mean, the team that's coming off winning the Super Bowl, I mean,
yeah, I mean, you're talking about a team that might be the New England, in terms of the NFL and the era that they might start. So, I mean, I guess from a Steelers perspective, how does this affect you as a Steelers fan? Because I'm thinking like it's just making an already great offense even better. And even though you said that whenever the Steelers play at their best, they are the best matchup against Kansas City. I mean, this signing doesn't make me feel any better. I agree with you. I think the Steelers can match up with them well. But at least from what I've seen this year on the defense, so far, the running game, I'm not that worried about. The passing game has been a little scary at times this season. So I don't know. I don't think it affects it too much, but it is just another like, okay, it's just the rich getting richer at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what it is. It's the rich getting richer. They don't need him, and I think that's the thing is he can't go in there and cause any problems because, hey, cut bait. Like, we don't need you here. We're not paying you that much. I wouldn't assume. I don't know what the contract looks like or anything, but it's a win-win situation, I think, for Kansas City where it's low risk. And if it pays off, you know what you could potentially be getting. Granted, he's 3 years removed from the guy we saw in Pittsburgh. I don't think he still is that guy, but he's obviously, in my opinion, an upgrade from what we were seeing in New York. So
yeah, I don't think he's the guy that he was with the Jets. He was just the whole situation there was never good from the start.
I want to actually, you mentioned the defense, and that's where I want to move to because I talked about how good the third down offense has been. I want to talk about the third down defense, but I don't want the people in the chat to think that I'm ignoring them because I did see that Ray McLeod's name got brought up. And yeah, I mean, for how long have we been looking for somebody to add something to the return game? And it looks like we finally found something. But as we always talk about, you get your feet wet on special teams and you'll get some opportunity, whether it be on offense or defense, whichever one you play. And bam, Ray McLeod on that end around takes it almost to the house, 50 yards. And he was a little bit involved in the offense. And whether that be just due to Deontay Johnson's injury or what, the guy got put on the field for some offensive snaps, like way more than he had in the 3 weeks prior combined. So he's adding something to the return game, and they can kind of use him in that way, I think. Again, going back to like the Chase Claypool end around stuff and reverse and the jet sweeps, all this motion. I don't want them to overuse it with Ray McCloud, but it's nice to be able to pull something like that out of your back pocket. So hopefully it's just something that they keep in their back pocket and use it to kind of throw teams off.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 12.5 yards per return right now, which I don't think we ever got anywhere close to that number with Ryan Switzer. I swear,
on punts?
Yeah,
all
I think on punts. So
okay.
all I ever saw was fair catches from Ryan Switzer. I swear, I don't think I ever saw him return an actual punt for more than 5 yards. However, I mean, he it's funny that Ray McCloud is now third on the team in rushing yards. He's 17 yards or 16 yards ahead of Anthony McFarland on 2 carries.
Yeah, I think that's too, like you mentioned, the punt return part of it. I was thinking of just like the kick return, but I definitely think he needs to take over the punt return too. I mean, Deontay Johnson, I love him. He's great when he gets the ball in his hands and he's healthy. That's been, a little bit of a concern too, as well as the health. So hopefully this back issue is something that he moves past and that we don't have to, worry about injury concerns going forward. But I would not be putting him back there on punts. One, he just hasn't looked that comfortable doing it. And I don't know if it's like a mental thing or what, but also I don't want him getting hurt back there doing it. If he was legitimately like your best option and there's like not another guy you feel like brings anything to the return game, then maybe you can justify it. But when you have a guy like Ray McCloud, who, as you mentioned, averaging 12 yards per punt return, and seeing what he does on the kickoff return, what he can do with the ball in his hands as well, when you get him space, I don't think that you can justify putting your, one of your top receiving options back there and putting him at risk of getting hurt while returning a punt.
Right. So as I mentioned, he is averaging 12.5 yards per return on punts, and on kick returns, he's averaging 27.4 yards per return, which if you get past the 20, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'll take it. Okay. So I saw okay, so that's what happened. Somebody put a comment in here about Twitter being back up, but then I saw a message retracted. I didn't know if you deleted that or something, or if YouTube blocked it, but it must not have been back up. And he realized that it was probably the same situation as like you and I, like right before we started recording, where like our timelines refreshed, but we couldn't do anything.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, third down defense has been bottom tier. I believe it's 26th or something, 27th in the NFL right now. So it has not been good. And it's odd because the rest of the defense has been good. They're number one against the run, 64 yards per game allowed. And the secondary as a whole hasn't been bad. It's just for some reason on third down, no matter how long, it could be 3rd and 1, it could be 3rd and 25. Right now it's getting converted against them. And I don't know what the issue is there, but Mike Tomlin spoke to it. He said that was going to be addressed heavily in practice this week. Hopefully on Sunday we see that was the case, because they can't keep allowing, they got to get off the field on third down. That's really been their only issue, because they are, they get a sack on first down or stop a run for negative yards. Second down, we get an incompletion, put team in 3rd and long, and it gets converted and it throws those first 2 downs away.
Yeah, and it's funny. This brings me back to a conversation I saw on Twitter during the Houston game, where Mark Cabali was saying how well that Deshaun Watson was playing. And Josh Yohe, funnily enough, Penguins guy, responded to him and just said, well, it's easy whenever the wide receivers are wide open, which was the case. I mean, it's one thing if the receivers and the quarterback are making just very good plays against you, but it's another whenever you guys just open on the middle of the field and they're just wide open and no one's around them. And I can't explain it. I don't know if there's just like a miss in their coverages or what, but it seems like everybody's like coming underneath and they're wide open against the Steelers.
I have the solution to this issue.
What's that?
Right now, for whatever reason, even though that they are getting a ton of pressure, they aren't getting a ton of pressure on third down, even though they're rushing more guys on third down, and they're leaving their corners and their safeties in these one-on-one matchups where, yeah, you're going to have guys open because you're rushing 7 and only dropping 4 in coverage. So that is why guys have been open on third down and long. That's why I think on this Sunday, if it were up to me, you'd probably see like Cam Sutton playing like 50% of the snaps and having at least 5, maybe 6 defensive backs on the field in these third and relatively long downs, because that has been the issue. They're rushing guys, too many guys, but they're not getting home. If you're going to rush that many guys, you better get to the quarterback on third down.
Yeah, I agree with you. It kind of reminds me of, and I feel like I always bring up BYU, but BYU in their defense, whenever it's a passing down, they only rush 3 guys. They've got 8 guys dropping back in coverages, and I agree. I think the Steelers should do something like that. They don't have to only rush 3 guys, but if you got a front 7 like they do, where even if you only rush 3 or 4 guys, you've still got enough skill to be able to get to the quarterback. They should do that, because obviously what they're doing hasn't been working. Even though they've won the games, it's still frustrating to see the defense giving up stops that they should have been. Like, it should have had stops and get off the field. They don't. And I feel like there's a ton of third downs being converted. Like, I don't know what the number, do you know what the number is? How many third down they've given up?
I don't know what the percentage is, but again, they're 27th out of 32.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Having more DBs on the field, I mean, maybe if they were flirting with the idea of Marcus Allen being linebacker, maybe in certain downs like that, you could test him out, putting him at linebacker in coverage situations. I don't know if they'd be down for that.
But he is, yeah. I think he's going to be back this week.
He was a full participant in practice today, and Derek Watt. So I don't know. Maybe that's something they could go to. But the defense, at least passing wise, hasn't been amazing this year, like we would hope. And I see people complaining about Minka already, and I think it's just because they haven't seen the flash plays from him. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, if you're not hearing things, or you don't really notice a person that's in the secondary, that's not always a bad thing. A lot of the times it either means they're not being thrown in their direction, or the play's just not in their area. But just because he's not making the interceptions or the forced fumbles like he did early on last season and throughout the season last year, that doesn't mean that he is not playing well.
So the tackling has definitely been an issue, but really it's the ball production that's down, that everybody is talking about him, because the coverage number, teams still aren't throwing at him. Like, he's completely taken away wherever he's at on the field. The problem is, and when he was on here, he talked about, they're going to use me as a free safety again. That kind of bummed me out, because I want to see him move around. I think he needs to be put in different spots on the field in order to have that ball production. Teams know where he's at. They're not going to target him. If he can, go wherever he wants not wherever he wants. If he can be in different areas of the field and just pop up, and that is how he's going to get interceptions. That's how he's going to force fumbles. That's how he's going to recover fumbles, by being put in different spots. If he's just a deep safety, I mean, sure, you're eliminating part of the field. It's still, valuable to the defense, but you're not going to get the ball production that you just so happy did last year. Because last year, a lot of that was just luck. I mean, let's be frank about it. He was in the right spot, and it obviously a great season. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but it's really not that different from what he's doing this year. It's just, it was this year with luck sprinkled in.
Right. And when you mentioned the tackling, something that really upset me about watching that game on Sunday, and I could think of a specific play when I'm pretty sure it was Travis Fulgham, who, even though the Eagles didn't win the game, he was all over the Steelers.
Unbelievable.
And good for him too. I mean, he was undrafted. He didn't have a job, and now he's
probably number one.
I would say he's basically their number one. So, Minka was in on a play on him, and he didn't wrap up, and it was just kind of one of those plays where a DB goes in, and he thinks that hitting the guy like with their shoulder and not wrapping up is going to make them fall down. And obviously he didn't, and he went on to get a first down. And that, to me, I'm just in my head, like, what goes through a guy's head, like, especially DBs, because I feel like that's who I see do it the most, where you can't just like wrap up or like grab their legs or anything like that, where they just like try to hit them. I never understood that. And when I watch college football, NFL, I see guys do it all the time. Like, I was always taught to form tackle. You want to just grab them up and bring them to the ground. Where has that been lost in these guys' training, where they just aren't told to do that anymore? I mean, maybe they are, but why do they not do it on the field all the time?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I mean, it's just something that in the moment of the game, I guess just doesn't always happen. Maybe he's looking to like make contact early enough where the guy doesn't even catch the ball. But at the same time, you would like to see him then make contact with him with his arm coming around to the front to try to like smack the ball at the same time. But with how we see like pass interference is called, you never know how that's going to go. It's very tough to play defense in this league right now. So
For sure.
but anyway, you mentioned Marcus Allen, so I wanted to talk about the injury report a little bit going into this game against Cleveland. So obviously Wednesday's the day where if you have like any type of injury at all, you're not practicing. So today we need a good indication of what guys' game status might be. Ben Roethlisberger, who wasn't hurt, just never practices on Wednesdays, obviously practices in full. Juju comes back and practices in full. Marcus Allen full. Derek Watt full. Marquise Pouncey full. Eric Ebron full. TJ Watt full. And Stephon Tuitt full. Now, Deontay Johnson and Deontay Johnson was limited, and then David DeCastro did not practice. So those are the two guys to monitor now for tomorrow. Obviously, you probably DeCastro. I don't want to like completely roll him out. I'm kind of moving towards saying that we're going to see Kevin Dotson start there again on Sunday, which I'm completely fine with.
I was about to say I'm perfectly fine with. I specifically was watching him on certain plays, and I was happy with what I saw. I think he will do perfectly fine there.
And then Deontay, who did get in a limited practice today, he needs to probably be at least limited again tomorrow in order to have a chance to go. I think that, again, I don't want to speculate on a guy's health, but I think it's encouraging that he was able to get back out there to some degree. I think the most encouraging thing here is Pouncey with the foot issue. I thought that he would potentially be out as well. I was seeing a lot of stuff about, the reserve center, JC. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, to be honest with you, Hassenauer from Alabama, potentially getting his first start. But obviously with Pouncey practicing in full, we're not going to see that. So, tomorrow you just got to monitor and hope that Deontay is able to get in another practice, and we'll see about DeCastro, who's dealing with an abdominal injury. So, Marcus Allen, Derek Watt both look like they will return after a couple week absence. So they're not using Derek Watt a whole lot, though. I mean, it will be an upgrade, obviously, for the special teams. That's what he brings to the table more than anything, at least for this team right now. But we talked about it before, and I'm not like a huge fan, honestly, of the fullback, but at the same time, there's a little bit of a role for them, especially when you get down into the red zone.
That's where I'm a fan
we're just
of them.
like, why aren't they going into I form here and just running behind this guy that you're paying this much money to, that is one of the best at his position? They just seem to like refuse to do it. I mean, this guy's played like 8 snaps a game in the games he has played. So.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. If you're inside the 5, every single running play that you should do, if it's inside the tackles. I mean, if you're doing it outside, I guess it doesn't make as much sense. Inside the tackles, you're running straight forward, put a fullback in. I see no reason why you wouldn't. It just gives you an extra blocker and an extra guy to like clear up that lane for the running back. I get so frustrated whenever they do just a shotgun run from inside the 5. I mean, at that point, you might as well pass, because most of the time you're probably not going to get in because you just don't have enough blockers at that point. So I'm a huge fan of the I formation down in the 5, and it doesn't really make sense to me why they don't do it.
Right. Okay. And then, before we bring Stubbs on here to talk some bets, obviously we got to preview the game for Sunday against the Browns. It might sound cliche, but to me, this game is going to be won in the trenches. I mean, it's going to be strength against strength. They run the ball even without Nick Chubb as good as anybody in the NFL. I mean, Kareem Hunt's a pretty nice insurance policy to have behind Nick Chubb. So, they run the ball better than anybody, and we stop the run better than anybody, allowing 64 yards per game on the ground. I mean, Miles Sanders broke off a 74-yard run. He totaled 81 in the game. So, I mean, besides that one run, he had 5 or 6 yards. Yeah. Did absolutely nothing. So, or 7 yards. I'm sorry. My math's off right now. But that's where, in my opinion, the game's going to be won. And you can reverse that to the opposite side as well. Our offensive line, again, I just mentioned DeCastro potentially not being out there to play, and Pouncey dealing with a little bit of an injury as well. And that's not even where the key matchup is going to be. Myles Garrett, say what you want about him. I know that, this is like a big matchup, obviously, for both teams going back to what happened last year, but the dude's an absolute beast of a football player. And whether it be going against Chooks or Al Villanueva, either one of those guys is going to have their work cut out for them, and they're going to need help. So it'll be very interesting to see how they do it. And Ben, to this point this year, is getting the ball out of his hands faster than any other quarterback, that is going to have to continue to happen.
I think it will too. I think the focus for this game is going to be short, quick passes. There's not going to be a whole lot of sitting in the pocket. And, I mean, hopefully they can open up the run game a little better than they have the past few games. And I'd like to see more of Anthony McFarland. I know we got a little bit of him last Sunday and the one before that. I'd like to see him sprinkle in more carries. I mean, just the skill set he has, I think it could be very valuable. And yeah, stopping the run for them, I'm pretty confident about it, I will say. And maybe I'm overly confident, but just with the front seven that we have, I'm very confident that we can stop Kareem Hunt. If they had Chubb and Hunt, that tandem, I mean, that's tough just going back and forth with those guys. But I think if it's just like their one guy, and I know they have Dearness Johnson, but how much is he really going to produce on this game? I think if you can keep Baker inside the tackles and make him throw from the pocket, that is where you have the Browns at their worst, because that's when he can't really what's the word I'm trying to look for? I don't even know what the word I'm trying to work for is. It's where he can't like do his best. He can't perform best because for some reason he's at his best whenever he's scrambling or rolling out to the right or left, whatever it is. But if you keep him in the pocket and you're able to stop the run, if you could establish the edge like TJ and Bud should be able to do, then I'm really excited for this defense against their offense, because from what we've seen, they have a great offense, but I think our defense is up for the challenge. But like you said, I'm very curious to see who they're going to have helping with Myles Garrett, because you can't block him one-on-one. It's just not going to happen.
No, getting back to Baker, that's exactly what I was going to say, though. I mean, the reason that he's had, a relatively solid season is because they're going through the run right now. I mean, they're operating through the run. Teams are stacking the box, and he's getting those one-on-one matchups on the outside because teams are committing to stop that run. And he is at his best when he rolls out and gets out of the pocket. So if you can contain him, make him throw from the pocket, I think that we'll see the Baker Mayfield that we saw last year in that performance at Heinz Field, where he wasn't able to make those plays. And the Steelers won in a game where Duck Hodges started, because we were able to shut down that offense. You shut down that run, you make them a completely different offense. You make them play the style of football that you want them to play. And I don't think that the Browns are going to be up to the challenge to do so. And, to flip it back on the offensive side right now, especially with Matt Canada's influence in this offense, everything is about getting the ball out of Ben's hands to these playmakers in less than 2.5 seconds from the snap. So don't even give Myles Garrett the time to get there. Chip him. Obviously, like we said, you can't go one-on-one against him. He'll win that matchup regardless of who it's against. So chip him and maybe have that guy, run a route. Have Ebron or Vance chip him and then go out on a route. Use that pressure against him. I saw somebody say that in the comments as well. I think it was Logan that's in here. But I feel like this is a matchup, and we're going to find out a lot about the Steelers in this game because people keep bringing up the record of, our opponents and stuff like that. We're going to find out right here what this team is really about and how good they are. Because if they can stop this run, if they can get the ball to Ben's hands quick, if they can dominate the line of scrimmage, get physical with their receivers at the line of scrimmage. I know that they hate that. You put hands on Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry at the line of scrimmage, that you're going to get under their skin, and they're not going to be on their game. So if you're asking for my keys to the game, I actually was talking about this earlier with somebody, and I'm going to be kind of regurgitating what I just said, but to give you a more formal answer. My keys to the game, Smitty's keys to the game. I'm going to start doing this every week. Control the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense. Keep Baker Mayfield in the pocket. Put hands on their pass catchers at the line of scrimmage. And Seven's got to get the ball out of his hands quick, because there's no way that Al or Chooks, who Chooks, got to give him a ton of credit, was, Zach stepping in for Zach Banner and playing the way he has. I think he's allowed one pressure since, becoming the starter. Playing the way he has been, remarkable. But, those one-on-one matches with Myles Garrett, they're not going to go well for him. So get the ball to Seven hands quick and help with whoever is in charge of blocking Myles Garrett. And I like the Steelers' chances on Sunday.
I agree with everything you said. And Twitter is back up, so I'm going to tweet out that we are still live.
We're about to, if you want to tweet that we're about to go to the betting segment, because I think that we're pretty much. I think the way that they win is to get turnovers. They have scored every time they've gotten one. Sarge is like obsessed with this turnover stat right now. He's been texting me about this, I think, since like week 1 or week 2, that they've scored off every turnover they've gotten. But I mean, absolutely. You go back even I mean, you always want to win the turnover battle, but go back to that Colts and Browns game, right? Don't even look at the Steelers game. The Colts and Browns game, Phillip Rivers turning the ball over on their side of the field. You're pretty much handing Cleveland a field goal at minimum. If the Steelers can win that turnover battle, and that's a lot of the reason they were successful last year, despite having a terrible offense, was at the minimum, their defense was putting them in position to score 3. So anytime that a team wins the turnover battle, you're putting yourself well ahead before you're actually even putting points on the board. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, turnovers are going to be a huge part of it. That goes back to the fact that Ben is taking care of the football. Ben just 1 interception this year. I know that we've had, Benny Snell fumble a couple times, but, so what? If you take away Benny Snell, do we only have 2 turnovers this year? Or no, Ebron fumbled. I forgot about Ebron's fumble this past week.
Fumble. Yep. I mean, I'm looking at the stats. I mean, Ben has the 1 pick. Fumbles.
Connor hasn't fumbled yet, I don't believe.
Ben's fumbled twice, but they haven't been lost.
Right. And
Claypool
Benny's fumbled twice, but it's only lost 1, I believe.
Deontay Johnson fumbled.
How did I forget about that one? It's the first one.
On special teams, yeah.
Yeah.
First touch of
Right.
of the season.
Right.
So I guess 3 lost fumbles. Or 3 lost turnovers.
No, 4.
Or 4. Yeah.
3 fumbles and the 1 pick. We were all over the place. But anyway, yeah, we only have 4 turnovers. We're +6 or +8 in the turnover margin.
Yeah, well, we're going to add another one this week because I'm going to say Minkah Fitzpatrick gets his first interception of the season.
See, I tried to call that this past Sunday, so I don't know that I will again. So I can appreciate somebody else.
It's my turn. I'm going to do it.
All right. Okay. Well, anyways, we're about to be bringing Devon Stubbs on here and talking some NFL bets. I am actually pretty excited to do this because I had a good week last week.
Yeah, mine was better than the week before, for sure. Week before I was 5-10, not that great. This week I was 6-7, so I only gained 1 more game right, but I got the benefit of not having as many games played. We're in the season of bye weeks starting, and with COVID, it doesn't help anything, but improvement. That's what we're here for. So hopefully I can go positive this week.
Get better every week.
Exactly.
All right.
What up,
so
Stubbs, Mr. Devon?
Devon Stubbs is here. We're going to go over our NFL bets for the week.
Can you see that?
2-23-1.
Yeah.
What is that?
What is that?
Ben against Cleveland. His career.
Oh.
Oh.
I was like, there's no way that's your betting record.
Cody Plain mentioned that to me yesterday. I did not know that.
Am I hearing
Hey,
myself?
Stubbs, can you mute us?
Yep, I forgot.
No,
You're
but
good.
Okay, so last week I went 8-5.
Jeez, that's actually good.
Not too
Yeah.
shabby.
I don't know if you heard me talking, Stubbs, but I went 6-7.
You both did better than me.
Really? What did you get wrong?
4 for 9.
What were the 4
It's
you got
because I
right,
do the
guys?
parlays. So I probably would have been 6 and 7, but I always miss out on one half of the parlays.
I only did one and I hit on it. I picked Rams -7.5 over Washington and under 45.5 points total.
Yeah.
Dude, what I've learned from the 4:00 games this season is bet the over, because I feel like every 4:00 game this season has gone over.
Isn't that just the NFL in general right now? Bet the over.
Pretty much. I mean, how many games have realistically
I mean, man,
gone
do I
under?
look like a stooge for saying under for Steelers and Eagles? I mean, the Steelers almost got the over themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember saying over 44, and you were surprised, but that's when I predicted they would score 30.
It was mainly about the Eagles offense, not so much the Steelers, but
What's that dude's name?
Yeah, but Fulgham smoked us. Yeah, he smoked us.
Oldham definitely had the over.
That was tough. Tough to watch.
He's like, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm trying to win some money on this game.
Okay, so we can get down into it. I will say, for everybody watching, that I do when I really want to lock one in and I want to hammer something home now.
Oh,
Jeez. He got Mjolnir.
We got a
Let's do
hammer
it.
when I'm really
Yeah.
feeling confident and strong about a bet. I'm going to be breaking this baby out. So
Yeah, that this Logan dude said the over was 13 and 29 in week 4 and 5. Actually, I was trying to think of the stat. So the unders actually are hitting more.
really?
Yeah, Gumpy, Gumpy does his nukes now on Pat's show.
Yeah.
That was one of them. I was like, it seems like every game's high scoring.
Maybe it's just
had
every
to have
game I'm
pivoted
watching.
from the first few weeks.
Week 4 and 5.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so like the weeks
Oh,
1
yeah,
through 3, that had to be.
I would say I thought you said last week that the over was hitting more this year than it had like previous years. So
I don't know.
Something happened.
Yeah.
All right, but let's get down into it. Unfortunately, we don't have a Thursday night football game. It would be starting here very shortly if we did. But let's go to a game that we thought was going to be in jeopardy. However, it's not because it was a fake report. Don't know what the hell Adam Schefter was doing earlier. But the Atlanta Falcons seem to be okay. They're good to go on Sunday. They play the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings -4.5 point favorites here, -220 on the money line. The Falcons are +184, and the over/under is set at 54.5 points.
This is one of my parlay games. I got the Vikings. They played pretty well last week, right?
They gave Seattle a game.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to question that decision to not kick a field goal, but try to get the half a yard or inches. Actually, what it
That
was.
stupid.
It's tough. I mean, Dan Orlovsky was on Pat's show, and he said he actually agreed with that decision. He didn't agree with kicking the extra point before that. They should have gone for 2, because then they would have been up 5 instead of 4, and then they would have kicked a field goal there, and it would have ended like it would have been irrelevant, or 6 instead of 5. I mean, because they would have been up 2 scores. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, they looked okay in that game. They shut out Russ for like a half. So this is tough though, because the Falcons just fired their head coach and GM, and we know how teams play after that. So I'm really struggling with this one.
Yeah. I played relatively safe this week. I'm just going. I like the -3.5 here, and I like the under because the 54.5. That's a lot of points for these two teams. I feel like.
I think
it is.
Because it's in Minnesota and they're going to be. I mean, no matter where it was played, it didn't matter. They were going to be playing in a dome, but it's played in a dome. I'm going to pick the over in this game just because I know that Atlanta's offense can put up points, and Minnesota's, I think, can put up enough that they'll hit the over.
Here's another thing. We're not sure about Julio, but also to Minnesota's side, Dalvin Cook's not going to play. Now, Madison stepped in and played pretty well. He ran for over 100 yards in that game on Sunday Night Football, but just something to think about. And that's why I can't, again, because I am just the way teams play after firing their coach. It's something different. It's like an MLB player making their MLB debut. I mean, they have like superpowers that night. So I'm just going to go with the under here and play it safe, I think, because of these two offenses, Minnesota being a run first team and the trend that we've seen with the NFL that Logan here pointed out. I'm going to take the under and call it a day on this one. No value in picking the Vikings money line.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually have a lot of money line picks this week.
Just call me nuts then. I'm picking the
over. Okay, so Baltimore and Philadelphia here. Baltimore on the road, -7.5 point favorites, -375 money line. Philadelphia +300. Over under set at 48.
The -7.5 scares me, but that's what I'm taking. Taking the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Eagles. Like, they look like a new team, and it's tough. Like, they look a little bit better. Carson Wentz looked better.
Them than like they scored us.
I mean, yeah, they got Jerry Rice now and Travis Fulgham. I like, they're a completely different team. With that being said, I think that Baltimore matches up better with them than the Steelers do. Baltimore is not that bad on third down like we are right now. And I will agree with you. I'll just take Baltimore to cover this 7.5.
That's what I'm going to do as well, just because
I
was looking at the total. What did you want me to do? I'm going last. It's not my fault that
I want
picking the
Philly
same
money
thing.
line.
I'm not that stupid. That's a waste of money. Don't do that. But I was looking at the total, and I know I went over for the Steelers, but like you said, I think the Ravens are better matching up on third down, and I don't think that that Philly's going to put up the numbers like they did against us because, like you said, Ravens defense is just more solid right now. So -7.5. I don't love it, but it is what it is. I have to pick something.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Fulgham is not going to play like he did against us if he's lining up against Marlon Humphrey. It's just not going to happen. And if Philadelphia is really looking at Fulgham as their number one now, that's exactly what's going to happen. Is Jackson or Jefferson playing? Are we talking about for Jeffrey? Oh, Jackson or Jeffrey for Philadelphia? That's a good question, actually. I know that they've already said they're not coming back next year.
I don't think it would matter if they came back anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't really look at those guys as like needle movers at this point. Like,
Wentz isn't gonna have enough time to pass it deep.
So Deshaun Jackson was limited today, so I guess that'd be something to monitor tomorrow. Alshon Jeffrey was limited.
So was Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, for me, maybe that would potentially make it a little bit. I mean, it definitely doesn't change my mind on the outcome of this game, but as far as like the points go, potentially. But I'm sticking with mine. With Baltimore here -7.5. Moving on to Chicago and Carolina. Carolina, one of the surprise teams in my opinion this year. -1.5 point favorites. They are -118 money line. Chicago +100. Over under set at 43.5.
I'll let Beefy go first this time. But I guarantee he has the same thing, isn't he?
I don't know. Because I mean, maybe I do. I'm just gonna pick the Panthers -1.5.
Yeah, see, I just have the Panthers money line here.
I'm going Bears money line.
Oh, nice.
I never take if it's like -1.5. I just do the money line for some reason.
See, I do that if it's the underdog. Like if it's less than a field goal with the underdog, I'll just take their money line because what are the odds they lose or win by less than a field goal?
Yeah.
Or lose by less than a field goal. But I mean, if you're picking a favorite -1.5, what are the odds that they win by less than 2 points? So, I mean, literally, what are the odds they win by 1 point? So that's why I think it's just better to if you think they're going to win the game outright, you might as well just take them to the spread.
Little announcement on the show. I'll put it on Twitter as well, but finally heard back next Thursday. We will be joined by Steelers linebacker Ulysses Gilbert.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be putting on Twitter as well, but just finally heard back from his agent. So excited about that.
Sick.
But yeah, I'm taking the Bears money line here. I like what I saw in that Thursday night game against Tampa Bay and Carolina. You know, they're a nice story right now. They're playing incredible under Matt Rule and Joe Brady, which I think a lot of people kind of like didn't see coming. But at the same time, like I'm a believer in Matt Rule, and I'm definitely a believer in Joe Brady's offense translating to the NFL. So, I mean, Mike Davis, there doesn't look like there's much of a drop off from Christian McCaffrey, which is absolutely ridiculous, but the way he's playing there. But like long term, I'm just not a huge believer in Carolina, at least this year. I still think they're a little bit away. And, you know, they're 3-2 right now. This would only drop them to 3-3, but a win here for the Bears puts them at 5-1. I mean, bear down.
Dude,
I'll take the Bears money line here just because of the value.
Bears, how about Nick Foles beating Tom Brady again?
Hate to see it, Tom.
And he just like walked off the field, didn't even talk to him. Yeah. How many touchdowns did Chase Claypool score? 4. Is it 4th?
Yeah,
now?
dude.
Right.
I mean, what a tweet by me, huh?
Yeah, you really called your shot on that one.
And someone was like, "Oh, you didn't tweet it when the game started. You tweeted it when he already had 2." How many times
do people have 4 touchdowns?
Not score 2 more? Like
all the time.
I have a question for you guys. If you were a GM would you hire someone like Matt Rule who like he'll take a team that's bad and they gradually get better and better and better? Or would you get someone like Adam Gase who had Peyton Manning and won, so his resume looks better, but
Peyton Manning screwed Mike McCarthy out of the Jets job.
yeah.
But anyway, to what you were saying, I can't stand like the coaching carousel that happens. It's just like the same guys just heading to a new place and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
I mean, and granted, it's not like, I know that college isn't just necessarily like it's not like the D League or the minor leagues to go to the NFL. Often, like they pay better in college, so guys don't even always want to make that jump. Yeah. But like, like Matt Rule completely turned around that Baylor program, and if there were guys that would want to make that jump, similarly, like guys that turn around programs and overachieve with their teams, I would rather hire that guy, the guy that I feel like is overachieving with what he has, as opposed to a guy that looks really good, but also the rest of his roster looks really good.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I especially you threw out a game, Adam Gase. Blech, that just sucks. But I'm all for.
Go ahead.
I'll say I'm all for giving the new guys a coach. Although I questioned at the time like Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona, just because like even though I know that they wanted the offense that he could bring, but his resume as a head coach wasn't great in college, so that was questionable. But I mean, it looks like it's working out for him, especially when they drafted Kyler Murray. So if you have a situation like that, I'm definitely for sure taking that kind of guy.
Right. We're gonna. I don't know if Logan, you're still sitting in here, but we might have to have you come on, like if you wanted, even like next week or one of these weeks coming up, because every time that we're saying something, he's throwing out these betting trends, if you will. He seems to be really in tune with this stuff. So I know Ryan was supposed to be on here tonight. I think he was working in like West Virginia. He had to end up going to West Virginia for work, so that didn't happen. But yeah, if you ever be interested in coming in here and chopping it up with us and letting us know what your picks for the week are going to be, we're down to do that. So moving on, though, Cincinnati and Indianapolis here. Indianapolis minus 8-point favorites, minus 375 on the money line. Cincinnati plus 300. Over under set at 6.5 points.
Am I going first on this one too?
Yeah, we'll just let you go first.
All right. I'm gonna take. Do I want to do it? Do I want to get real crazy?
There's no way.
Let's screw it. I'm taking Bengals money line.
Man, they got their asses kicked.
Which is why I think Joe Burrow is going to be pissed off. And I mean, I know it might be crazy.
Colts are coming off a loss.
It is crazy.
They played the Ravens though, right?
Yeah.
The Ravens just punched them in the mouth. The Colts, I don't think the Colts offense is so
the Colts offense stinks, but their defense is good. I know that they just had that game against Cleveland, but that was without Darius Leonard playing as well, which I think is a huge factor for them, obviously. So, assuming he's back, I think that completely changes the dynamic of that defense. I see the intrigue there because it's plus 300, and Joe Burrow looking for some revenge of this game. I mean, I could see a path to picking it. I can't be the guy to do it. This isn't like, I don't have the same feel as I did last week with like Miami money line here against San Fran, but that's the equivalent.
I don't have a near the feeling that you probably had with Miami money line, but I have enough where I'm like, okay, I'm picking it. Screw it. Let's have some fun with this, because I mean, Phillip Rivers sucks. I'll just say it. He's washed. So if I'm picking a quarterback to win this game with defenses excluded and pick into my decision, which is terrible logic, I'm picking Joe Burrow. So that's why I'm picking it.
Yeah, I picked the Bengals plus 8 here. I think if it's a shootout style game, the Bengals will probably win. But what scares me is the Colts, they have a pretty good run game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely better when they also had Marlon Mack, but Jonathan Taylor, their line also was kind of banged up too this past week. But if they're fully healthy, they can definitely run the ball.
So if Colts coaches were watching the Ravens, like Lamar Jackson didn't really do much last week.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with it.
Just
I mean,
punch him in the mouth.
I don't want to like switch it to a fantasy perspective, but that's been with the problem with him why he doesn't have these huge fantasy numbers because they're running the ball, getting up huge, and then they don't throw the ball. And that's why he's not even like in a position to repeat as MVP. He's not doing much.
Yeah.
But anyway, Logan, I appreciate the kind words first off, but if you want to send us a DM at around the 412, obviously follow us or me personally. My thing's right on the screen. We'll definitely link up. But okay, moving to our game here, Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 3.5 point favorites, minus 198 money line. The Browns plus 166, and the over under set at 50.5.
Because it's the best odds, excluding Browns money line, I'm not going to pick that. What am I, an idiot? Give me the under 50.5. I don't think this, even though last week was a high scoring game for the Steelers, the Browns have had a couple of high scoring games. I think this is going to be a relatively lower scoring game compared to what we've seen. It's not, I don't think it'll be super low. Like I'm not predicting like 17-10, but I think it'll stick to like, say 24-21, something like that. Like it'll be a relatively close game. So yeah, I'm taking under 50.5.
If I had to pick, I'd probably pick the over here. Because if you look, the Browns have given up, I think 30 plus points a game.
That's the thing is, I think that we could be, scoring 30 points again, but are the Browns going to score 21?
Yeah,
we do that. Honestly, I feel good about the Steelers in this game, but I don't know.
Could it be just like the same as the Eagles game was? We go up big and then they start coming back, and then the over hits it.
I'm just afraid of like Cleveland like backdoor covering this game with a score late or something like that, and I'm just going to take the Steelers money line. Not great odds, minus 198.
Ooh.
But yeah,
I'm too scared.
Again, I'm not betting this in real life anyway, so it's just what I would if I were.
That is true.
Okay, so Denver and New England here. New England minus 9.5 point favorites, minus 420 money line. Denver plus 330. The over under set at 45.
So how long has this game been? Is this a postponed game or was it
supposed to be played this past Monday?
So Bill Belichick had 2 weeks to game plan.
And,
so
yeah, Cam Newton and Gilmore are back. So
I'm taking the Patriots minus 9.5.
Also for Denver, Drew Lock is back.
Is Melvin Gordon going to play? Because he had a DUI.
Melvin Gordon, I see, like Vic Fangio being the type of coach he is, I could see like the team suspending him for that game.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that he has to like appear in court the day before the game. So they might just like leave his ass because they got to go to New England to play this.
Right. All right. I guess because of that, I was looking at the under 45, but it's got better odds by picking the Patriots, so I'm going to pick them minus 9.5.
We're all on the same page here. I'm taking them to cover in this game. When they did last play, they lost to Kansas City with just horrific quarterback play. If Cam Newton plays that game, I think they beat Kansas City. I know that the score didn't end up being that close, but they did absolutely nothing offensively. 7 of Kansas City's points, or I guess 6, I should say, came on a pick 6 late in that game. I mean, I truthfully believe Cam Newton plays that game, New England wins.
If Hoyer wasn't the worst quarterback in NFL history in the red zone, they would have won the game.
I mean,
no sense.
Yeah, like no wherewithal for a guy that's been around, and that should be like the only thing that he brings to the table. Yeah. Like there's obviously no athleticism. The only thing that this guy should be able to do is make the right decisions.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that. Like terrible. So I'll take the Pats minus 9.5 with Cam and Gilmore back as well, it looks like. I don't know why my app just did that. What's the next game on the ledger here? Detroit and Jacksonville. Detroit minus 3.5, minus 190 money line. Jacksonville plus 160. The over under set at 54.5 points.
Someone else can go first this time.
Well, I mean, Detroit's winning 10 games and a playoff game this year. So,
according to who?
Evan Foxy.
Oh,
there's so many times where I throw in like a Pat McAfee show reference on here, It's pretty much becoming like a spinoff that McAfee show. I haven't gotten to break this out yet, but I'm going to here.
Lions minus 3.5.
I like Detroit coming off a bye. Matthew Stafford hasn't been all that great, but he's thrown for at least 300 yards or 2 touchdowns. I believe in like every game this year that he has played. So I will take Detroit minus 3.5 here, even though it's in Jacksonville.
They stink.
Yeah, I'm taking 3.5. It's an easy pick.
He threw a pick 6 against the Steelers too. He did. Yes, Brian Hoyer last year with the Colts.
Yeah, in the red zone.
In the red zone. Yeah.
We went nuts.
Yeah, he was running towards us. What were your guys' picks here?
Minus 3.5.
Oh, okay. All right. Houston and Tennessee. Tennessee minus 3.5 point favorites here, minus 200 money line. The Texans are plus 168, over under set at 53. Tennessee, they look unbelievable. They don't need to practice.
I really wish we could have played them. That was going to be a good measuring stick on where we were at. But I have the Titans minus 3.5 here.
This is a tough one for me because, again, if Houston loses this game, they're pretty much out of the division race right now. I mean, they're gonna lose the game, but I'm just saying if they do lose the game, they're gonna be out of the division race.
The way like football, dude, they just punch you in the face and score. They just scored 42 points and their quarterback had 195 yards. And Derrick Henry only had 66 yards. So that just means everyone's just running great.
I think that Watson still puts up some points. I'm going to go over 53 on this.
Okay, I'm going to take the opposite of you, actually. So we'll be head-to-head on this one. I think Tennessee will win the game, and I think that they probably will win by 3.5. However, just because it's the minus 105 versus minus 115 odds, I'm going to pick under 53.
It's weird that Tennessee can put up the points that they do with the way that they play, because you would think they're just going to chew the clock. They run the ball down your throat. That's how they win. And maybe it's just because of the turnover luck that they had in that game, but they the way that they're still putting points on the board, even with the style of offense that they play. I mean, it's hard to figure them out. We were talking about a good measuring stick for the Steelers, but how good are the Tennessee Titans really? I mean, that Bill, was that game more about the Bills not being who we thought they were, or the Tennessee Titans being more than what we thought they were? Maybe both.
I'm not a huge believer in Josh Allen. I told you guys that. I
don't care about real life, but fantasy, he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he was feasting on terrible competition the first few weeks, and then gets his first real test in the Tennessee Titans and doesn't play that well. Yeah, for me, I still think he's definitely taken a leap from where he was even just last year, and especially his rookie year. But yeah, I still don't think he's there yet. I know I saw that, you brought up the Aaron Rodgers thing. Yeah. To me, he took himself, at least for right now, out of that race.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on, Washington and New York. Oh my God, these two teams play each other. I mean, I know they play each other twice this year, but they play each other this week.
This guy has some good stats, man.
New York minus 2.5 point favorites here, minus 148 on the money line. Washington plus 126, over under set at 42.5. Just because of the odds, and I think this is a coin flip of which team's worse, I'm going to take Washington money line.
Yeah, I have the football team money line, and I'm parlaying the over on this game because it's at 43.5.
Do we know who's starting for the football team?
It's going to be Kyle Allen, I believe.
Oh, I thought it was the dude that has what is Alex Smith's leg made out of?
Probably machinery right now.
Wait, have you seen something about Alex Smith starting that game?
No, I just figured
Oh,
What was
No.
Kyle Allen out for? Concussion? Don't you have to take a week off when you get a concussion?
it doesn't even list.
Well, he might have
him-
just been in he might have just been in concussion protocol. He might have not actually.
Yeah, it
had a
doesn't even list
concussion.
him as injured on their thing. So
Okay. Well, I thought Alex Smith was playing, but I'll still take.
Well, we know for one thing, it's not going to be Dwayne Haskins, and
is he even going to
the
be there? At
Steelers
the
are
game
not
this
going
week,
to,
or-
and the Steelers are not going to trade Justin Lane in a 4th-round pick for him either. So, Filippone, you can take that rumor.
Yeah, the
and
rumor.
Just shove it up your butt. Yeah.
What was yours for this, Beefy?
I'm going to take the money line as well. I didn't say it yet,
Okay.
but I'm going to take football team money line.
All right. Jets and Dolphins. The Dolphins. When is the last time they were minus 9.5-point favorites against anybody? But they are here. Minus 390 money line. Jets plus 310. Over under set at 47.5.
I'm going to guess the last time they were that big of a favorite is when Dan Marino played for him.
I mean, it might have been like
It honestly might have been.
They look good, dude. The Dolphins.
Chad Pennington.
Dude,
What?
they torched like
Dolphins look good.
Fitz Magic torched that defense.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me is I said it. I don't know when the last time they were this big of favorites are, but I'm kind of leaning towards taking them being that big of favorites.
I got the Jets plus 10. That's just too high for me. But don't you feel like Adam Gase is kind of like this is his job now, right? If he loses, they have to fire him, right?
If he were already fired,
Yeah, but he's
I'd
probably
pick
gonna
Miami
lose.
to win this game money line. Or I'm sorry, the Jets to win this game money line.
Yeah.
But Adam Gase revenge game here against Miami.
I feel like the Jets
I-
play their best game of the year. And I have them plus 10.
Joe Flacco's still quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the spread for the Dolphins.
I don't even know. Like, does Frank Gore handle most of the touches for them? Does LaMichael Pirine? Like, I don't know I don't know what they have on offense at this point. It wouldn't
have no
surprise
idea.
me if I turned the game on and saw one of you guys catching passes.
Honestly, we look like their offensive line. That's who they have blocking for them.
I feel like I could do it.
Hold on, I just want to look up
Your
like
knees
Miami's
are
offensive stats.
I'd be the guy wearing like double knee braces. Those guys look so stupid.
That would be you though. Otherwise, your knee would probably die. Dude, why does Ryan Fitzpatrick have 1,344 yards right now?
Dude, they haven't played a bad game yet, right?
They
Not
lost.
like a terrible
They
game.
lost to New England by 11. What? Oh, they lost to Buffalo
Ryan
by 3. I think.
Ryan Fitzpatrick also has 131 rushing yards.
Yeah, he had like 500.
He's got
last
more
year.
rushing yards than Matt Breida.
Yeah. Who they traded
That's
a 5th round
crazy.
pick for. I'm taking
Yeah,
Dolphins.
Myles Gaskin has 249.
Right, you're talking
Yeah,
me into
it's
Dolphins minus 9.5 with these Fitzmagic numbers.
It switched to
Dude,
9.
it's an
and a
easy
half.
decision.
It's showing 9.5 for me right now.
Well, I did this.
Yeah, it's
yesterday.
9.5.
What was it
Yeah,
when you?
I mean,
what was it when you
Plus
got it?
10, so I took the Jets because plus
Oh.
10. That's pretty good.
Oh man, what if they win by 10?
Yeah.
Then you push. It doesn't
I
matter.
take those.
No, but I'm saying for us, it would be good.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Okay, so Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Green Bay minus 1 point favorites here, minus 112 money line. Tampa Bay, minus 104 money line. Over under set at 56. I mean, is this the closest spread we've seen so far?
Yeah.
I don't recall another spread that we've seen where at least when we were picking them, the money line were both minus.
Yeah.
I have the Packers here, money line. I can't bet against Aaron Rodgers until I don't know. I just can't bet against him right now.
Okay, Stubbs, not that I want to change your decision. I just want to point out that if you pick them spread, they're only favored by 1. So that's better odds than picking the money line. because you have to win by at least one.
Yeah. Well, I'm not putting real money on it anyway, so.
Okay, that's true.
Just for pride at this
Well,
point.
I will pick the Packers -1. I'm not a believer in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't do it, at least from what I've seen so far.
They don't
You lose to the Chicago Bears. No, you lose to the Chicago Bears. I mean, granted, the Bears are 5-1 or 4-1. Though they could be 5-1 after this week, according to Smitty. But I can't put my trust in that team right now, so I have to pick the Packers.
I'm with you. This is probably game of the week now. I mean,
I would assume.
You got 12 versus 12, Rodgers versus Brady.
I think the Steelers-Browns the game of the week.
Hey, we've got Nance and Romo, so it's got the best call of the week.
Yeah.
That's true.
Steelers-Browns.
But I think this is being advertised the game of the week, being as 425. Yeah, I'll go Green Bay here to cover the -1.
What's the Sunday night game?
That's the next game, and it is Rams and 49ers.
See, they should have flexed the Steelers and the Steelers-Browns or put the
I think that I don't think that they can flex games yet. I think that they're protected for right now until like week.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is, to be honest with you.
Because this is not a good matchup.
No, Rams and 49ers. Rams -3-point favorites here, -172 money line. Niners +144 over under 52.
I have the Rams -3.5 at +100.
San Francisco, man. I mean, listen, I don't know if it was just me saying they're going to lose to Miami, but they stink. Jimmy Garoppolo got benched in that game. I mean, they have
not good. I've said that for years on this show. He is not good. He is a game manager, and sometimes he's not even good at that.
It's so weird that his record is so good, though.
Because he's a game manager. He's meant to not lose the game.
Yeah,
he's not the guy that wins the game.
Last year, other than the game where they beat us and they shouldn't have because they turn it over 5 times, he just really doesn't turn the ball over, and they'll just run for like 250 yards.
Yeah, he is not a good quarterback, and I hate when people say he's good.
I mean, yeah, I feel like they already got as far as they're going to last year. Like, I don't think that you're getting closer to this, as close as they did last year to winning a Super Bowl.
And you and I picked them to make playoffs, but not win the division, I believe, this year. Yeah. I'm not confident in that pick anymore.
See, the thing is, even with like Jimmy not being that great, I would still give them a playoff spot if they had Nick Bosa healthy and Solomon Thomas. I mean, they've just lost so much on the defensive side of the football too. But just look at this game here with the Rams. The Rams are 4-1. You know, they looked like the team that we thought, at least I thought San Fran would be, where they're that number 2 in the division behind Seattle. You know, they've had their moments in their one loss, you know, game with like 18 seconds left against Buffalo. Yeah, I'll go the Rams -3 here as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I didn't even say my pick, but
the Rams treated me well last week, parlaying it. So should I do it again for the culture? I don't know.
I think you should hammer it again for the culture.
Huh?
You parlaying the over here?
I feel like you got parlay the under.
Is that 51?
52.
It's 52 on here. I mean, I have to because they treated me so well last week. I'll go under 52. Okay. What was your pick here, BV?
Rams -3, and you can smack the hammer for me for that one. 49ers suck.
Oh, I thought I broke something with that.
Those jerseys coming yet?
What's that?
Those jerseys coming yet?
They have not.
I want to wear that Ben jersey this weekend.
Oh. Yeah, it's got 2 more days to get here. Okay, so Kansas City and Buffalo. We did a Monday night doubleheader. For as much as it stinks that we don't have Thursday night football, that is pretty cool. Starts at 5 p.m. Kansas City and Buffalo. Kansas City minus 4-point favorites here, minus 200 money line. Buffalo plus 168. The over/under is set at 57.5.
I have the Chiefs minus 3.5 here.
So that's moved as well by 0.5 point.
Yeah, and if I had to bet the over/under here, I'm betting the under because it's at 57.5 when I was betting. So
yeah, it's 57.5.
That's pretty.
Man, how after Buffalo looked like that against Tennessee, I mean, granted, Kansas City lost to the Las Vegas Raiders and didn't look that good against the Chargers. We just mentioned didn't look that great for a half against New England. I got to do KC minus 4 here as well. I feel like this is kind of boring because we don't have a ton of disagreements, but if I'm making these picks,
right
this is what I'm doing. Huh?
Maybe I'll be right on some picks this week.
Yeah, hey, you know what? A very respectable 8-5 last week for me, so let's just keep it rolling.
Listen, throw my record out the window. I'm taking Bills money line.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say my fantasy quarterback gets it done. Okay.
Listen, I mean, we love it on here because it's going to give us something to talk about next week.
Right.
We're not all just staying on the same path and going the same direction. So I'm fine with it. I like it. Second Monday night football game, Arizona and Dallas. Arizona minus 1.5 point favorites, minus 118 money line. Dallas plus 100. Over under set at 55.
For me, this is the worst gambling game of all time. I've never won a betting with any of these two teams.
So here's my question with this game. Dallas's defense absolutely sucks, for lack of a better word. We've seen it firsthand how bad they are. Watching that game against Cleveland, I mean, my God, they couldn't stop anything. Seattle couldn't stop anything. Arizona's offense is very dynamic. The question is going to be, can Dallas's defense, with Andy Dalton now at the helm, put up enough points to keep pace? And you know what? I've actually, I said on the fantasy show, I think that Andy Dalton might do relatively well there just because of all the weapons that he has. With that being said, with just being 1.5 point favorites, I've picked them to cover a lot this year and they haven't, but I'm going back to the well. They did it last week. I think they do it 2 weeks in a row. I'll take the Cardinals to cover minus 1.5.
I took the Cardinals money line here.
I'm taking the Cardinals minus 1.5. Dallas's defense, I just think, sucks. And with Andy Dalton, his first starter quarterback, I'm with you. I don't think he will do terrible, but I just don't see a way that he'll be able to keep up with Arizona's
I don't
offense.
even think Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton got a bad rap in Cincinnati, to be honest. I don't think he was terrible. I thought he was like an average quarterback there. Granted, obviously, like Joe Burrow, you're going to make that switch, but I still think he can be an NFL quarterback, and with the weapons that he has in Dallas, they got to have some success on offense. It's just they're going to be giving up a ton of points. Just nothing on the defense has changed.
I think the only good thing about him is, doesn't it feel like Dak's better than him, but they either don't score or they score in 2 plays. So they never keep the ball away from the other team. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but see, the thing is,
they don't possess the ball enough. So it might be better for the Cowboys, honestly.
My thing is, I think that the reason that their offense is like that is more of because of Mike McCarthy than Dak. And that would mean Mike McCarthy switches his offensive philosophy going all the way back to Green Bay, because that's just always how his offenses have run. He's a pass-first guy, whereas quarterbacks throw the ball 40-plus times a game. You would think that they have to switch something because there's no way they can ask Andy Dalton to do that. Like, you got to rely on Zeke more. But until I see that being the case, like Mike McCarthy, even when Aaron Rodgers went down, he never flipped a switch like that and became a running first team, which, to your point, is probably what they need to do now to possess the ball and just keep the clock going. And that's their best opportunity to win games, is keep the other team off the field because their defense can't stop anything. But until I see Mike McCarthy do it, I just can't believe it's going to happen.
It makes no sense for them to go get Mike McCarthy, in my opinion. They look the exact same as last year.
Just another
Except their
recycled
defense
head
is worse.
coach. Just another recycled NFL coach. I mean,
Yeah.
they
They
just
look no
keep
Hey,
going
people wanted
around.
him over Tomlin.
That's just because he's from Pittsburgh. There was literally no football reason behind it.
Well, that wraps it up. Unless you guys have anything else.
No. Happy
Actually,
betting.
what I want to do, so we keep track of our bets, right? So we have like our collective records. However, I want to throw in like a little bonus. Bet that you're most confident in, and bet that you are the least confident in. And if your bet doesn't hit that you're most confident in, you lose 3 points. If the bet that you are the least confident in hits, you get 3 points.
And does each bet we get count as 1 point?
Yeah. Each of the regular bets will be 1.
So we're starting from this week. We're not doing the previous week, so we done.
No, just starting this week.
Okay. Well, I can already tell you that my least confident one is Bills money line. That's my least confident one. And honestly, I feel like my most confident one is Packers -1.
Okay. My most confident, I will go Arizona -1.5. And my least confident is going to be
It's not going to be like Bills money line, I can tell you that. That was just a shot in the dark for me, but I'm sticking with it.
Man, I'm so good. Like, I don't know what's bad.
Okay, shut up.
No, I will say the under 54.5 for Atlanta, Minnesota.
That's your least confident one.
Yeah. Just like the potential is there with Arizona, or not with Arizona, with Atlanta's offense. I mean, even like again, like if Matt Ryan's an average quarterback, there's just so many weapons there.
Least confident for me would be the Jets +10.
Okay.
And most confident. Beefy already picked his Packers game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
-1.
I'll do the Chiefs -3.5 is my most confident pick.
All right, there it is. As we wrap up, I want to tell you guys about one more thing as I'm reading the chat here. Rocking around the 412, which I brought up on here a couple times, is the most important thing that we do. It's a Christmas drive where we get a bunch of memorabilia. You guys donate to families at Christmas time so we can provide gifts for those families, and you guys get the chance to win all this memorabilia. I showed it on, I don't know if it was just the last show or the previous show. We got Jack Ham Pylon, we got Juju Smith-Schuster signed football, Kevin Newman jersey, Benny Snell autographed photo, O'Brien Rust puck. It's all 3 of the Pittsburgh professional sports teams, a bunch of memorabilia for each one. So you can get involved. Our pinned tweet on Twitter will take you right to the GoFundMe link. You can donate. If you donate at least $20, you'll be eligible to win any of the prizes. We're still working through it. I want to talk with the guys that are part of the network as well. But Stubbs actually brought up a really good idea, and it's something that we might actually go through with. One of our shows in maybe like around Thanksgiving time or so, when people are feeling very giving and very thankful for what they have, we might do like a live auction. I might get some prizes and we'll do like a live auction show where you guys put what you'd be willing to pay in the chat as we are recording. As I show you the item, you guys Venmo me the money right then and there, and you win the item whenever the time runs out. I'll do like 90 seconds or something like that, whatever it might be. But I thought that was a really good idea. Of course, it's not set in stone yet. We'll talk it over. Another idea that we have that I think that we're going to mess with and see if we can make it work on Sunday. I don't know if Tyler will be around for it actually, because I literally just did this on my own and didn't even bring it up to him, is doing a Steelers post-game show where we have a couple people either call in or join in on the Zoom room and just, recap the game. Obviously, it'll be a lot more depressing if we lose, but it's going to be a ton of fun if we win. So it's something that we might do a trial run with. At least
You're just going to have a bunch of people in there at once?
What's that?
You're just going to have like 10 people in there at once? That'd be
No,
cool.
I'll have them in the waiting room and then admit one person and then, hey, what do you want to talk about? All right, we'll see you. We'll see you, Jimmy from Iowa.
Also, while we're speaking of giveaways, we do have a giveaway running on our Twitter right now. We are giving away a white Devon Bush jersey that is autographed. I have it right here if you're watching the video.
Devon Bush went to Tyler's house to autograph that.
He did. He was in my room. Don't fact check that, though. But we're giving that away. All you have to do is go to our Twitter, and you have to be following us. You have to retweet the tweet that it's on and subscribe to our YouTube and screenshot it and reply with proof. Unfortunately, there's no other easier way to do it with YouTube that way, but we're trying to grow our YouTube. So if you can do that, you have a chance to win that jersey.
You guys that are like sitting out there and, tell us you want to support us and show us as much love as we try to reciprocate back. The best way to do that right now is just by subscribing on YouTube, hitting that notification bell, watching, when we do the shows live or watching the videos back, whatever it might be, hitting a like and commenting. That's what we're trying to do right now is just grow the YouTube page. We're trying to get to like affiliate / partnership status, whatever you want to call it on there. We have the subscribers already. We just need the watch time. So the best way to support us right now is just watching the videos, watching the shows back, whatever it might be, commenting, hitting the likes, all that good stuff. You guys know the gist of it by now, because I bring it up every single effing show. But
yeah. And Smitty and I were talking about different ideas to bring to our YouTube. We have to figure out how to do it first, but there might be new stuff coming to YouTube.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out a lot of stuff. But you guys are going to see some changes, I think, here in the very near future, as far as like the way that you see our page laid out. And also maybe a little bit different content as well, but it's going to be still catered to the same thing, Pittsburgh sports. That's what we're all about. So with that being said, I'll tell you guys real quick about Keats Barbershop, which is an old-fashioned barbershop. It's located at 180 Brighton Avenue in Rochester, PA. He's open 11 to 7 Tuesday through Friday and 9 to 4 on Saturday. Every Tuesday is $5 off for military personnel, first responders, and nurses.
I mean,
are you giving them like a side view?
Just like I show off the Manscaped products, you can look at Stubbs' head right now for the Keats Barbershop preview.
I always say on here, we got all your hair covered between Keats Barbershop and Manscaped. So,
well, Keek will even Manscape for you if you ask nicely.
I'm good on that.
That's in the back room,
huh? With that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Whatever your preference is, we appreciate you all the same. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff. As I mentioned, I say it every week, so you guys know the routine. Thanks for listening to Around the 412. This has been a presentation of Crowworthy. Winners are serving winners coast to coast with sports, gambling, and more. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Around the 412. Follow them at Crowworthy and visit the Pittsburgh City page at crowworthy.com for podcasts like this one, blogs, gambling advice, fantasy advice, all that good stuff and more. Until next time, we'll see you.